Tom Aspinall is going to lose tomorrow or today, or he will have already have lost, depending on when you see this video. Look, last fight event, UFC 320, I guaranteed an Alex Pereira first round KO. Go watch the video if you haven't seen it. I have been spot on with my main event picks, and I'm just getting this tingly feeling. Everybody is writing off Ciryl Gane. Everybody is discussing the Alex Pereira super fight, the John Jones super fight, the maybe even Francis Ngannou super fight, or if none of those guys, is it Volkov, is it Almeida, etc., etc. Look, Ciryl Gane's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. He is a good athletic kickboxer. He's a big guy. You know, they're going to be pretty much the same size in the octagon. And I'm leaning towards Gane. I'm leaning towards Gane. Now, with Pereira, I gave the lock of a first-round KO, which was correct. And I actually did bet on MGM. I bet Gane in 60 seconds. So close. He was gone in a minute and 20, so I barely missed out on that bet. But look, I think Gane is going to win a 48-47 decision. And I think Aspinall is going to struggle on the feet. I know it sounds crazy. I know. Look, it sounds insane. I think he's going to struggle on the feet. I think Gane is going to land a lot more strikes. I think in terms of the big moments, it's probably going to be pretty even. I think Aspinall's output is going to be pretty low. And I think the 2 rounds he wins, they're going to be wrestling heavy. He's going to wrestle. He's going to land even on significant strikes. I've got Gane 48-47. I've got Gane 48-47. Look, you can disagree. That's fine. But you're going to lose some money if you're betting on Aspinall. And you're going to have an incorrect pick. Nobody is really taking Gane serious. And that's where these guys get dangerous. They've got nothing to lose, no pressure. I mean, legitimately, think about a time where a fighter had more unironic pressure. You know, we think about the McGregor-Khabib fight. McGregor lost. It was okay. He had gone and boxed. He had been doing a lot of drugs. It's like, yeah, he needed that win, but inevitably, it's not a big deal. He lost. He'd already lost before to Nate Diaz. You've got Izzy and Pereira is another one I think about. And Izzy did lose, but then he came back and beat him. So, you know, that one was a big loss, but he ended up coming back and beat him. And Izzy was on the back half of his career. Pereira beating Magomed, you know, he needed that win, the one I predicted that just happened. But look, Pereira's been super accomplished. I mean, legitimately, no one has ever needed a win more. They need the win, but they get nothing from winning. Legitimately nothing. Everybody has already, they already are talking about who Aspinall fights next. Nobody, if Aspinall wins, people will be like, okay, cool, awesome, you know, we expected you to win. So, I mean, that's pressure. That is pressure. When people view this fight as a foregone conclusion, and look, Aspinall's not fighting me. If Aspinall is scheduled to fight me, then it's like, oh, yeah, whatever, you beat him, who cares? He's fighting a elite UFC fighter who's going to match him up in reach. You know, Gane has a longer reach. He's an athletic kickboxer. And I think Gane is going to touch him up. I think Gane is going to touch him up. I won't say it's going to be a dominating fight. I think it will be close. I think we might even get a fight of the year, depending on how much output Aspinall gives. But I think the MMA world is going to be stunned when Gane wins. Aspinall will call for a rematch. And in the rematch, I think there actually is, unironically, because I'm predicting Gane to win this fight. But I think Aspinall would probably actually win a rematch. The dynamics, it's not necessarily just about the X's and O's of fighting. It's also about the location and the vibes and the pressure. I mean, legitimately, think about how chill this is for Gane. You know, he's getting a big payday. He's already lost a title fight. If he loses, he's just kind of coasting. He's an elite UFC heavyweight fighter. He's not the best. He's just going in with house money. I mean, he's rolling the dice. You get a bonus bet on DraftKings. They say, you know, we're going to give you $10, bet whatever you want. He's just like, yeah, I'll go for the heavyweight title. No pressure. And this isn't a person that has no talent. It'd be one thing if it's, you know, you were fighting Tom Aspinall. Yeah, that's not going to work out. But these guys are very even. You know, regardless of what you think about anyone in the UFC. You know, and Ilia Topuria knocks out Charles Oliveira. Look, Charles Oliveira turned around and won his next fight. These guys are very similar. Even if you're getting knocked out in the first round, these guys are very similar in talent levels. And I've got Gane. I mean, Gane at plus 300. I took Pereira at plus 200. I think Gane plus 300. I think we're going to have back-to-back good upsets. Now, we're going to quickly touch on a few of the other main events to give you my early prediction. These are not my official. Gane winning is my official, but we've got JDM versus Islam. This one is tough. This one is a lot tougher to me. They feel very similar to me. You got JDM, Islam. They're both the same height. JDM's got a longer reach. They're going to be the same size. I know people are talking about JDM might be too big. What? I've heard it in both directions. I've heard people say JDM's going to be too big. And I've also heard people say Islam's going to have lighter man skill. Because, usually the smaller guy, they're more skillful. They're quicker. These guys are the same exact size. Look, JDM was, in his fight with Bilal, even though they were the same height, JDM was a little bit of a lighter guy, a little bit more athletic. Bilal was a thicker guy. He was a little bit slower, less explosive. These guys are the same size. This is going to come down to who has more skill, who has more heart. JDM's younger. JDM is used to 170. I think it's a razor-thin fight. I legitimately could see it going either way. On the feet, JDM's got the advantage, obviously. Although Islam is very defensively sound, and Islam on the ground has the advantage. But we've seen JDM has very good wrestling defense. So I think it's 50-50 fight. Like JDM is an underdog, a plus 235 underdog. So I would probably take JDM just because I'm going to get a better value on him. But I have no strong opinion either direction. And UFC 323, we've got Merab rematching Peter Yan. Look, until proven otherwise, I've got Merab. Look, I know I've talked about Pereira underdog, Gane underdog, JDM underdog. Look, Merab is crazy. I really don't have much to say about that other than it's Merab and what he does to people. I mean, it doesn't look fair.